have, let's see, Lee Ching-ho is black versus someone who I'm not going to try to pronounce. On account that I'm really bad with Chinese names. And believe it or not, well, actually, no, I'll let you figure that one out. I'm not going to spoil it. Another interesting game. Let's see. Those of you who are not aware of what's going on. Yes, thank you very much for that. Those of you who are not familiar with Yi Ching-ho's current changing style, he's trying to get a bit more aggressive. His old style of letting his opponents get what they want and still winning kind of not working so much anymore. So his style's changing a bit, seeing a bit more aggressive games from him. This is one of them. So definitely a game to focus on mid-game fighting on. So, right, black decides to go ahead and obviously approach. He encloses, giving white an interesting choice. What is white going to do? Is white going to follow up? Is white going to abandon what he was doing, his attack on c5, and decide to split the right-hand side, prevent black from getting that optimal extension? Choices, choices. White decides to follow up by not letting him live in the corner. If he had decided otherwise, then we've got a potential problem on our hands. Because black can go ahead and play a large move, which is going to negate white's wall. I guess white will take territory at that point. And black will still be able to get his optimal extension. If white tries otherwise, then later on black's going to go back and live here, and how is white going to use the wall? Kind of becomes harder. So you can see what both players are thinking pretty easily. So he says, forget that, I'm not going to have my wall, you're going to run out with this stone. Lee Ching-ho, more aggressive style, like I mentioned, doesn't go back and play the large extension. He goes ahead and continues trying to fight. White pincers. He doesn't mind a little combat. And pretty basic Joseki ensues. Everyone knows it. Thus giving him influence. But he's also got Sente now. So what do? We've got A still. But keep in mind, if we play at A, we know that black can still play a move around K4, eliminating our option to use that wall that we have, just taking territory at that point. White can go ahead, yes, and still split. That's optional too. Though we probably wouldn't play R10 at this point. Modern is to actually approach at C14. At R14, sorry. Why am I saying C14? Yes, I did not mean C14. Yes, we're going to pile stones on top of each other and hope white gets confused. Instead, white takes his extension. Why does he take this extension? Anyone have any ideas? Why is this move interesting? What's so threatening about d5? Yeah, he would have a wall with an extension now, wouldn't he? So suddenly, if black takes his optimal extension, white will have one as well. So black says, well, I guess we have to go ahead and reduce this. So he tries to lightly reduce. Bit of an odd move. Might be kind of hard to see what he's aiming with right off the bat. But it's pretty simple. All we start needing to do is disconnect c4 or extend with, I said c4, didn't I? You start to disconnect k4 or extend with c5. Yeah, I like c way too much. I suppose that's what it is. White protects his investment. Black cuts it up, because those are miai. Black's going to get one or the other. White prevents black from going underneath, so black threatens to go over top. Maintains connection, thus making sure he's not a weak group. And now is when we start to see chances given to white, because black decides to go back and take his large extension. Alright, I guess that makes sense. We're out in the middle. White goes ahead and takes his gets a base for himself, grabs extension for himself. And then lastly, black continues trying to reduce, since he has somewhere to run to. He figures that he's got a group in the center that can make moves like this relatively safe. Not to mention Biaggi lingering at A. Now, dealing with this is all very, very difficult, because if we keep answering black all around the board, white might find that he's left with very, very little, and that can be uncomfortable. And yet, trying to figure out what to do instead is just as difficult. Reason being, let's say we want to attack something. Well, what are we going to attack? Are we going to attack black's new stone? If so, how? Are we going to attack black's old stones? If so, once again, how? And where are we going to profit from? Those are very, very difficult questions. Splitting attack between the two stones. That seems like a decent idea, yeah. Still a lot of Agi there. Severus, very interesting point to make. You do not see much profit right now. So if you don't see much profit right now, what would you do? Resign, play T1, what would you do? Maybe a couple of Sente moves. I see. Interesting ideas. Interesting ideas. White instead says, I'm simply going to go ahead and play elsewhere. Because there's an interesting thing with these weak stones on the board. That is, it affords white the chance to play a bit greedy. Because one thing that black can't afford is to have another weak group on the board. Otherwise, that'll be way too many. Why not play p16? Confuzzled. Why not play o16? That Joseki. I do see that one a lot. Oh, wait, the high approach or for... Now I'm confused. Do you want high approach for black? Or the attachment here for black, or the high approach for white? What are you suggesting? Oh, for white. Eek! I don't like that one at all. Immediate dislike of mine. You cannot find a Joseki that I hate more than this one for white. Reason being, I don't care what you're using it for. endgame is horrible. It's just utterly brutal against your position. And yet you have no way of doing the exact same thing to black. So what this is getting is very little points for white. White has made very few points here. White still needs another move in order to make this into territory. Meanwhile, black doesn't. I mean, this is already territory that you're not really going to be able to mess with. This is pretty solid. Let's just go ahead and call it 15 points, because I like counting nice and easily. So essentially you're giving about 15 points of solid territory to your opponent, whereas you don't have it. Excuse me, whereas you don't have any yet. In my opinion, it's a bad exchange, yes. I really hate playing 016. And I really hate seeing people play 016. And I usually stop my students from playing 016 unless they have a very good reason. What might be a very good reason for doing so? Let's quickly edit the board and find out. Shift, 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 shift. Now you might have a very good reason for doing so. You simply have a lot of influence that you're trying to extend from. Now I might say, okay, you can play 016. But aside from that, no. I just don't see a reason to play it. Yeah, I'd still be tempted to play 017 too. I just don't like 016. So anyway, getting back on track. White approaches. That wasn't the question. So he plays a bit greedy because he knows that he can't really be pincered here, otherwise black's going to have 3 weak groups, and that's going to be almost impossible for black to handle them all. So, that being said, black says that I don't know anything because he's Li Cheng Ho and I'm not, and decides to create another weak group. Alright then. However, I still stand by what I said. I would not create a brand new weak group until I had gone ahead and done something about my other weak groups on the board, especially after seeing how this turns out. Any ideas how this turns out? You're white, you have to deal with this. What do you do? How do you turn this messy position to anything good? Because this is a kind of game where you really have to be extremely careful. This is the type of game where you make one mistake, every group is going to live, and you're going to be left with almost no territory. Congratulations, game over. So you really have to profit from this attack. Cap and hope, that's a fairly decent suggestion, cap and hope. Any others? Or are we all agreeing with cap and hope? Send running, okay, interesting. Split, split what? Oh, send it running then split. Okay, I see what you're saying. I don't know if F18 is better than... What? Oh, if L18 is better than cap, I see. Ah, yeah, yeah, L18. Sorry, it's been that kind of week. I'm hallucinating. So you said instead of cap him, connect underneath. That right there is a very important thing to realize. Yeah, it looks like a C. That right there is very important to realize, though. I'm glad you mentioned it. We do have a bit of a connection underneath the stone, don't we? So our 017 stone, since they can connect under, since they can still jump out, since we can potentially still cap this offending stone, right, we still have a lot of Aji here. So white connects. He makes himself nice and strong. Now black has an option. He decides to prevent the connection underneath. Well, not connection, like you said. It can be used for creating shape. Though I think it can actually be used for a connection too. Because this is kind of not a good result. I mean, that's pretty well connected. So black blocks that option. Now, trouble with this is that it's Gote. It's keeping disconnected in Gote. Second problem with this is it's just at the edge of being behind enemy lines. So we can all anticipate white's next move. He's going to jump out. Black, obviously, no choice, has to get out of there as well. Same thing, white has to get out. He doesn't want to be cut off, doesn't want to be surrounded, that'd be bad. Black goes for shape, peeping white's connections. Very important thing to do when we're trying to live. Goes back and settles. Make sure they can't be invaded. But what's the fundamental problem with this? Anyone know? Actually, I should specify who should probably answer this. I think Severus should answer this question, because you've been suggesting this constantly. It's a bit greedy, yeah. 3 regroups, yes, that's true. And one thing you've always been suggesting is to split those groups. And that's exactly what white's going to do. He's going to split the groups because even though this can live, there's a lot of value in simply forcing it to live. So we can clearly see what white is fighting for. He's fighting for the center. Why? Because A and B are very, very weak. If we can get strong by forcing this marked group here to live, then we can go back and attack them. So black goes to live. Strengthen this connection. And then keeps moving to surround. Now clearly we can see the dangers even better than before. These 3 stones are almost completely swallowed without even having the remotest possibility of fighting back. Black continues to defend himself, and then white attacks. Interesting analogy. But we can clearly see what white was aiming for immediately. And it's something that you can probably all learn from, because we usually wind up against players who try and live everywhere. So the question becomes, how do you handle that kind of thing? Well, something's going to live, obviously. You can't go ahead and kill everything. That's just not going to happen, unfortunately, regardless of how much we like killing things. But what we can do is force groups to live in order to get stronger from them, like we're seeing here. Here, white is forcing groups to live in order to surround stones. That way, by the time we go back and attack, it's already almost dead. Does this make sense? Alright, glad to hear that. Yes, if you have 3 weak groups struggling for life, not even Li Cheng-ho is going to be able to make everything live. That is true. It's not like a magic trick. White is almost dead too at D16. Should I go over that? I guess I could. White's not in a lot of danger at D16, simply because this stone has got problems with it. It can either try and connect underneath to the corner. Well, yeah, why not? I'll show it real quick. Because here in the actual game, that actually does come up. Because clearly, black or white doesn't want the entire bottom of the board to suddenly die off. He's going to try and defend himself, which he does. But that also means the attack gets immediately pushed back onto black. And the minute that happens, he's able to take care of himself. Now, if he ignored this and said that these stones weren't worth responding to, again, question is, how is he going to try and make this live? Especially when white can take care of his group almost with a single move. As long as that C14 stone is weak, can't really kill white. I mean, granted, he could have tried something like this, but this is just going to go ahead and help white surround black. So it's not as troublesome a position as it seems. No problem. It's 9:30. I probably... should I do the last one? I had originally planned on it. Alright, we've got 2 people saying that yes, I should. Let's see, and that last one was here? Yeah, it was here. Yeah, I'll try and skip right to mid-game, I suppose. Not gonna go ahead and close my recording, because I'm not even certain that all my recordings are actually currently up on my live stream. I just remembered a problem with that. I'll keep this one running. But alright. This one we have a Korean name I'm not going to try and pronounce. Versus someone everyone knows. Or at least should know. Yeah, most of this I'm going to skip right ahead to. Because a lot of this is kind of complicated in the beginning. We have Orthodox Fuseki here. Standard approach. Rather than the split. Because the split, a little bit of trouble with the split. The split actually offers a lot more ways for white, or for black to develop. This, for example, is fairly nice for black. is able to get nice development very, very quickly. Possible. I'll look at it later. So instead we have the split, right? Well, black decides to go ahead and pincer to make use of his enclosure. That makes sense as well. Now, white doesn't jump out, obviously, because with the pincer there's nothing to really use it with. We can't go ahead and say, alright, we got influence, time to kill things. It's not going to happen because both of these groups are way too weak. So the only thing he can really do is go into the corner or change directions. Now, black's choice here is very aggressive. Usually we see simple wall, but I guess he wants to really fight, so he decides to make it hard for white to settle, and then splits him. White looks for Aji, tries to figure out which way black wants to block, gets his answer, and then plays proper Joseki. Why is this Joseki? Because R3 is not dead yet. Here, for example, one thing we cannot do is go and Atari things like a crazy person. If we do that, R2 is going to be activated again. If we go for, let's say, I don't know, Atari, and now you're dead. Well, no, he's not dead. He's not dead at all. Black's dead. Black just killed himself because he can't play this way. Whoops, that was a mistake. I suppose you could look at it that way, yeah. Friendly fire. So, obviously, nothing to worry about. He's going to go ahead and take his stone. Now he can go back and cut, which is also why white is going to go ahead and defend the cut. Trying to do so in Sente, leaning against these stones. Again, trying to get Sente. Now, this is something that I'm sure every double-digit Q will immediately say is a mistake, because you are clearly leaving a double Atari. And only double-digit Q would leave an Atari. No offense to Severus. But that's actually a trap. If white actually plays this way, oops, we've just made a mistake. Can't save everything. Those stones are dead. Game over. Sad, sad, sad stones. So he doesn't play this way, obviously. He goes ahead and plays here. Black plays the Atari, pointing out the problem. Defend against the problem, black connects, and here we've got no way to really do much. We can't Atari, obviously, that would be insane. And our opponent would start giggling and madly at us. All we can really do is take. I'm sure it stopped you, Ta. You are stronger than that. I don't think even Severus makes those kinds of mistakes. No offense to Severus again. So the stones die. Black gives white Sente to go ahead and protect his cut points, thus allowing him to get pretty decent thickness here. One thing that we don't want to do is play here. This is more insanity that I mentioned earlier. This is just giving more and more thickness to white. He's going to be very, very happy and send you thank you cards. So instead, black goes ahead and tries to expand along the top. Very, very fast along the top. And now we've entered mid-game fighting. Why? Because we're immediately going to assault this stone in order to try to reduce black's thickness, black's little area of influence that he's getting here. So what black is going to try and do is not allow that to take place. He must profit from this attack now that he has left his stone to fall under attack like this. So he helps his stone, which immediately falls under a pincer. And black chooses to aggressively pincer the pincer. This is where things really get interesting, because now both players have problems. They're both under attack. White makes sure that black's not going to be getting any kind of a base here. If we play elsewhere, then suddenly, oh no, that might be Sente. Or he can actually get a bit of an eye here, regardless of the way white plays. Later on, in an emergency, he might be able to make some eye shape. It wouldn't be preferred, but it's playable. Here makes it a lot less possible. So, what does black do now that he's under attack like this? Any ideas? What is standard move? Okay, Stoneflow says F13. Alright, alright. That's pliable. Anyone else? There are 2 moves here. Okay, I guess there are 3 moves here. 4 moves here? Still looking for 1 move. No, it is definitely not Tengen. Alright, that's what I was looking for. Thank you very much. E14. The thing about this particular fight is these stones, right now, if we try and attack them, they're going to defend themselves and live, obviously. They're going to know quite clearly that they're deep in black's area, and unless white's absolutely crazy, he's not going to, for example, go, largest move on the board, here, and let his stones fall under severe attack. That would just be insane. If you play this way, not threatening anything, he's going to go, oh no, I'm under attack, and he's going to try and save himself. And the more moves he uses to save himself, the less chance that you're actually going to get to really profit from trying to attack this, because you're also busy trying to live. So what this does is it tries to change the fight. Now we're trying to lean on the corner. We're not trying to lean on the 2 stones, we're trying to lean on the strong corner to try to make us stronger. And this is something that's very, very important to look for when you get yourself into a position where you know that you need a little bit more strength. Find something strong to lean against, because it's already strong, and you might get what you're looking for. If you lean against what's weak, probably not going to work out as well, because that weak group or stone or whatever it is, it's going to get stronger while you're leaning on it. Very basic idea. So black says, I lean against corner. You make me strong, then I turn around and kill you. But white doesn't want to do that. He knows what black is doing. So white decides to go ahead and strengthen his stones. He's not going to fall for black. He knows exactly what he's trying to pull, and he's not having any of it. Nope. Nice try, though. Also no. E16 is the wrong answer. E16 just strengthens, well, that's what I said we want to do. It strengthens the corner, but there's a lot more you can get out of it before you play a move like that. D15... Alright, Stoneflow does know one response, yes. I like that. Black plays c13. He is aggressively going to surround the corner. Now, what who was that again? Stoneflow was mentioning is that maybe we have a lot of Aji here. And that's true. There is. But we probably don't want to go ahead and take the sequence which is going to allow white to cut over us now that he's got g14. Might not be a good idea. So instead, black plays a little bit more aggressively. White Hane. Black's going to keep looking for Aji to use. And now things get a lot more interesting. Because what's going to happen in the corner? Right now it looks like nothing's happening in the corner. Right now it looks like we have to go back and play a stupid move like f14, which is probably what we should have played in the first place, and all of this was completely useless. But it wasn't. Because right now, for example, white can't cut through us, otherwise he's going to have no liberties and he's going to get captured. So that's what we're fighting for right now. White connects, black connects, still can't cut through. White Hane, black Hane, still can't cut through. White connects. Black's threatening. Obviously going to go ahead and respond by not letting himself be run along the second line. That'd be very, very nice for black. Initiates capture race. Now he gets to connect, preventing the small knight from being cut through in Sente. Very nice for him. Very powerful move. It's completely upsetting white. He no longer has an option to go back and grab a base. No, it doesn't matter if black loses the race. He doesn't intend to live in the corner. The corner wasn't his goal. Remember, the stones and this area of influence is his goal. He's just getting stronger by forcing white to kill the corner. It's a rather nice sacrifice play that he has here. Connects, make himself stronger. Leans on the outside stones. White goes back and kills. Keep in mind, this wasn't alive yet. Black continues trying to sacrifice. White's now nice and alive. In Gote. Allowing black to go back and get what he wanted. He got stronger. And now he's managing to surround white stones in the center by sacrificing the corner. Now, I don't expect anyone here to be able to read out variations such as these, but what I would hope that you guys would be able to see in your own games is the idea that, why am I clicking that way? Just shift click. Is how the attacks like that begin. Which way you should lean against, what stones you should lean against. Those being the stronger stones. We wouldn't want to go ahead, for example, and lean against the weak stones, because those are simply going to get stronger the minute you lean against them. Instead, we lean against the strong stones, not touching the weak stones for as long as possible. That way, when we finally go back and address the fact that the stones are in our area, we're as strong as we can possibly be when we go back and try and attack those stones. Because right now we're weak. We can't do something weird like, haha, you're going to die. Of course not. Because immediately, black's behind enemy lines. And the weak stones are going to get stronger. None of this is going to work. We're going to feel kind of silly. And blame it on alcohol. So instead we lean against the strong stones. White doesn't have a chance to go back and protect himself yet. As long as he's responding, defending himself, he's not cutting through and killing you. Very important concept to learn. And as you can see, it makes a very, very big difference in mid-game fighting, whether you chose to play a variation such as this, which successfully utilizes every part of strength you can squeeze out of the board before going back and attacking white, or if you had instead played you, or if you'd played a variation like this, or maybe this, which completely fails to make yourself stronger before you attack, and instead just tries to do so immediately, as weak as you are, thus strengthening white's group. Very big difference in mid-game fighting. Very, very, very big difference. These are the kinds of... also, this doesn't just go ahead and limit itself to this particular situation. I mean, we would want to do this pretty much whenever. If there was another weak group on the board, it would make this sequence all the more severe. If there was something else that white had to look after, because then you're getting strong between both of them, and then when you split them, only one of them is going to be able to respond. So it's always a very, very important thing to look after when fighting starts. How can you make yourself stronger without really making that weak group stronger? I think with that, I'm probably going to go ahead and wrap this up if there are no other questions. I'm going to go ahead and actually, there's one thing I failed to mention, which I should have done right from the start, but I didn't because I'm an idiot. And